Hey guys, my name is Maddie, welcome to another video, and before this video starts I just want to say I'm back. Clearly. I just took a little bit of a break because of everything that happened. If you don't know the situation, I'll put it in the description if you want to go read what happened. But I'm back now. I will say posts maybe a little bit few and far between still, like a little bit infrequent, like maybe one a week. But I am trying to get back into the motions and making videos, and hence I'm making a video now. Today we are going to be talking about all the books that I read in 2023, and I'm just looking at all the books I have here. We have a lot. But before this video starts, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support, and thank you for all the love that I've received even while I've been gone. I love you guys so much, and I really wish that it didn't have to be ruined the way it did, but I am now back. But anyways, let's talk about all the books that I read in 2023. We read a total of, I think it's 58 books, and that's good. My goal was 25. I don't know what I was thinking at the beginning of the year. I think I was thinking, because I just got into reading at the end of August last year, I was like, not last year, 2 years ago now. August 2 years ago. I was just thinking, right, okay, I just got into reading, don't think I'll read that many books, I think it'll be a little bit on the lower scale, so I set 25. I went double. I went over double. It was ridiculous. My new goal for this year is 65. I was going to go like 10 above, but 65 I think is just like a good number, and I feel like that is definitely doable. I'm still in school obviously, so I don't have like every single day to read, so that obviously is an obstacle, but we're gonna try and get to 65 this year. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk about all the books in this video. Just so this video isn't an hour long, I'm not going to describe the book. I'm just going to tell you my rating, what I thought of it, and just a few little bits. I'm not going to tell you like what it's about and stuff. If you're interested about the books, you can go look it up, you can go look at the blurb and stuff, but just to save time, otherwise I'll be here for an hour, and that's a long time. I mean, for you guys, I'll be here for 3 hours if I'm talking and blabbing on about books for 3 hours, which I can do. But do I really want to when I want to go read Queen of Shadows? Okay, I have my reading journal, my reading log right now. I'm going to be using this because I would use Goodreads, but I'm obviously filming on my phone, so I've got my reading log, and we're going to look at my ratings and everything. Yeah. Okay, so the book we're going to be starting off with is not one of my favourites. It's an okay book, I will say. It has ups and downs, a lot of downs, I will say. But I read part of it in 2022, and then I continued over into 2023, so I included it. And that is none other than The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I loved The American Roommate Experiment. It is, to this day, still my favourite standalone romance book of all time. I read it last year. No, I keep saying last year. I read it 2 years ago now. It is one of my favourite standalone romances ever, and this just, I went back to read this and it was just boring sometimes. Like, I think low-key I was a little bit generous in my rating because the emotions I have towards this book is not really great. I will say Spain was really good though, even though it only got 100 pages of it, and we had to wait 200 pages for Spain when the whole purpose of the book is The Spanish Love Deception. Make it make sense. But I rated this with 4 stars. I feel like, in hindsight, I don't know if it's 4 stars, but maybe if I reread it one day, we'll see what my true rating is. Then I read Twisted Games by Ana Huang. I rated this book a 5 stars. I love the Twisted series so much. It is my favourite romance series. That's basically all I'm going to say. I loved this series so much. I read Twisted Love the year before, and I picked this up and I loved it. Then I of course read Twisted Hate by Ana Huang. I rated this also a 5 stars. This is my favourite book in the series. There was just something about this book that was so much better. It was like on another level compared to the other books in the series. Like, they're all 5 stars, spoilers, but like, it was just so good. Like, something about it, I don't know what it was. And then we have Twisted Lies by Ana Huang, of course, and I rated this also a 5 stars, as I just said. The epilogue to this book, I was crying because this series felt like family to me, and I do sometimes still think about them and I miss them. It's been a year since I read about them, and I will forever love them. Honestly, I love them so much. And this epilogue just, oh, if you read it, you know, like, this book is still 5 stars, it's still so good. That's all for January. We're going to February now. So, here we go. I read the whole Shadow Me series this month. We are going to talk about every single book. So first I read Shadow Me, of course. You'd obviously start with this book. I rated this one a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. It was good. But it wasn't on another level. It wasn't amazing. It was just good. For what it was good. Okay, I'm looking at my reading log and I've drawn part of a star, but I don't know what that part of a star is. I'm gonna have to go off memory. I think I rated this a 4.25. We're gonna go with it, and if I didn't rate it a 4.25, I'll put it on the screen what the actual rating is. I enjoyed this book. I obviously liked it a little bit more than Shadow Me, clearly, and I enjoyed it. It was good, and yeah. Then Ignite Me, of course. I rated this a 4.5. I remember that one because it wasn't a 5, and this is everyone's favorite book in the series. It's not mine. It's not a bad book. I did really enjoy it. Of course I did, but like, it wasn't a 5-star. You get what I'm saying? Just saying, this whole series is a blur to me. Like, I only remember specific points and plot points and stuff like that. Like, I don't remember little tidbits. It's just a blur, but I loved it all the same. Then I read Restore Me by Tara Murphy. I rated this one, I think I did a 5-star? I think I did a 5-star, but I'm pretty sure I then changed it. I'm not sure, I'll put it on screen, but I remember I put it at a 5-star because of the ending. It blew me away, and I was like, oh my god, this is definitely a 5-star. But I'm pretty sure I then changed it to like 4 point something. I'll put it on screen. I'm very unprepared. It's just this reading log is not up to date. But yeah, I don't remember anything that happened in this book apart from the ending. Yeah. Then I read Defy Me. This is a 5-star. This is the first 5-star of the series. It is my favorite book of the series. Plot was amazing. Fantastic. The ending of Restore Me really set up for this. Really good. Best book in the series, that is. Unpopular opinion. Fight with the Wall. Don't care. It's my favorite book in the series. Then I read Imagine Me by Tara Murphy. I rated this one also 5-star because it got tears out of me. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like I said, this whole series is a blur. Then I read Believe Me, and I don't know what I rated this one. Okay, I think I rated this one a 4 stars. I can't exactly really see, but I think I rated this at 4 stars. Obviously, it's cute, but it's short, so it is what it is. Okay, and then I genuinely cannot read what the rest of these ratings are for these 2 novellas and like the little novellas in there. But I basically read Destroy Me, then Fracture Me, then Shadow Me and Reveal Me. I went back and obviously read these because I didn't read them with novellas because I didn't have the novellas. I bought it as a box set and they didn't come with the novellas. So yeah, the whole series is a blur. I genuinely can't remember much about it. I don't really think about it, to be honest. Okay, and then I managed to fit one more book into February, which is You've Reached Sam by Dustin Diothe. I don't know how you say that, I'm so sorry. I read this in one afternoon. And I cried the whole time. Literally, when I reached page 30, beyond that, tears. Tears were shed at every corner. Honestly, I cried the whole way. This book was heartbreaking, and I will forever love it. It's a 5 stars all the way. One of, probably, in hindsight, a favourite book of the year. Have fun crying. That's February done. That's a lot of books. I think that's the most read amount of books in a month. But a lot of them were novellas, so to be fair, don't think it counts. We're on to March now. So I started March reading The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I rated this one, I think, a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. The ending did make me cry just because it was so cute, and that's all I can remember. I can't remember much of this book. I will be honest, I can remember some things, not a lot, but it was still a good time. I enjoyed it, but I haven't picked up any of the other books. Spoiler warning, I haven't picked up any of the other books since, so I have them. You can see them here, but I haven't read them. Someone convinced me and I might, but not right now. Then I was in a thriller mood. I don't know, I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I haven't even read Good Girls Guide to Murder and I read this. But I loved this. I think that's a 4.5. I rated this, I think, a 4.5. I really enjoyed this. I cried at the letter, If You Know, You Know. And I'm in this book. There's a character called Maddie, and I was like, bitch, if Maddie dies, I'm ending the book. But yeah, just every now and then I like dipping back into like murder mystery and thrillers and kind of like mystery, because that's my childhood like genre. I read those when I was a kid. I read the Murder Mystery and Lady series when I was a kid, and just like Cynthia Murphy, that kind of thing, like Last One to Die, When These Kill Die. So I like diving back into it every now and again, so yeah. Then I read a book that changed my life, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I rated this book a 5 stars. of course, changed my life. I automatically connected with this book. I loved it so much. This is one of my many copies. This is actually my annotated copy I've got in front of you guys today. But you're not going to see that because you need to read this first. This book honestly changed my life. This series changed my life. It's been my favourite for a while. It will always be one of my favourites. And I love it to death. Literally to death. My babies. So that obviously means I then read The Ballad Never After. Again, 5 stars. This is one of my favourite books of all time. Honestly, this shattered me and I didn't recover for... I don't know if I ever will recover. I mean, now that I kind of have answers, it's really helped, but for 7 months while I was answerless, I literally didn't recover. If you were around, you know what I mean, but this book honestly changed me. After I read this, I was a different person, I will say. Go read these books if you have not already. They are the most beautiful books ever. Even the covers are. These are the American copies I'm holding up right now because I got them shipped to me, but even the UK covers are stunning. Honestly, these books, oh, I miss them. It started raining, guys, so if you can hear that in the background, I'm sorry. It's just a little bit of ASMR for you. So enjoy. Okay, so now we are moving on to April books. And I will not lie to you. This month's a little bit hazy, but we'll go for it. This is also my birthday month, so yay! Anyway, I started the month reading Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is the only dark romance I've read this year, unless you count the Twisted series, which I don't. It's kind of like dark undertones, but it's not like a dark romance. I rated this book a 4 stars. I can't remember anything about it except it's a Peter Pan retelling where Hook gets the girl and then it's a dark romance. And then I did enjoy it for what it was, to be fair. Haven't picked up any other dark romance this year, spoiler warning. Sorry, not sorry, but this was good. If I ever want a dark romance, I'll probably pick up another book in this series because this was good, to be fair. So yeah. Okay, these next 2 books, I don't know anything about what happened in these, I'm not gonna lie. Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. I rated this book a 4.5, even though I remember really struggling to get into this. This is one of the only fantasies I really struggled to get into and found boring like the first half. Not boring, but like difficult the first half. And I rated it 4.5. The second half must have made up for it. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything that happened in this book. Except that the sister dies, but that's the whole plot of this book. Yeah. And then obviously I read Kingdom of the Cursed. Yeah. I read this a 4.75. Again, I have no recollection of anything that happened in this book. I do actually remember more in this book though, to be fair, I'm lying to you. I will tell you, the first book is completely YA. This is not. You go into the... It is not YA. The rest of the series is not YA. I can't remember much of what happens in these books. I haven't read the 3rd one yet. So when I want to read that, I'm going to be hella confused. I do know what happens at the end and like where the 3rd one picks up. But yeah, anyway. And then I read part of Caraval in April, so I'm including it here. I read it in part of April and then part of May. I rated it a 4.75. I did enjoy this, so this is my favourite book in the series just because I enjoyed it a lot more. I binged this and I read it in mostly a day. But like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, now I'm moving on strictly into May. I then read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Well, no, I picked this back up because I did DNF this at the like 270 page mark, around that. I can't exactly remember. I DNF'd this in March, but I decided to pick this up and just finish it because I had not that much to go. Like less than 100 pages. I was like, okay, I'll just skim through it. I literally did skim through it. I wasn't even paying attention. So I know nothing of what happens in this book. And I don't want to know what happens in this book. I rated it a 2.75. Somehow I made it as far as I did, so I gave it a little bit of stars. But apart from that, I just didn't like this book at all. Then I read ACOTAR by Sarah J Maas, taking me into my favourite universe of all time. God, anyway, 5 stars. This book was easily 5 stars. I don't even have to look at my journal to know that. I loved this book. This book made me feel the way a book hasn't made me feel in a long time, like when I read this. Honestly, this is one of my favourite books in the ACOTAR series, which is shocking to some people because of the contents, but like, I did fall victim until someone else came along, and then I saw him, I was like, wait, and then I changed towards the end of this book. I was completely opposite, but like, this book brought me back to life. I love this so much. I will forever be grateful to that book, honestly, till the day I die. Then I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I decided to give her another go because a lot of people love Emily Henry, so I wanted to give her another go. And I ended up loving this. I gave this a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm glad I did give her another chance because this was actually a really good book. I related a lot to it. I liked how the chapters were named and everything, and I like how her books are relatable. There are such good quotes in this book. And then I finished off the month with A Court of Mist and Fury. This was again 5 stars. I love this book, of course, so much. Is there anything else I need to say? Is there anything else I need to say? Okay, and then we are in June. I started June off by reading The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. I gave this book a 4 stars. I will highly suggest checking your trigger warnings before you read this book. I did enjoy it. It was really sad. It did break my heart and it was really sad, but I did enjoy reading it. But I think this book was good, and there is a second book out now that I don't know if I'm going to read, which is the follow-on. I don't know if I'm going to read that, but this book was still good. It's a 4 stars, but check your trigger warnings before you read this book. Then I read A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. 5 stars. This was my favourite ACOTAR book before I go into the later books, but I like this book. I like this book. I love this book. I loved this book. Are you joking? I will say though, this one and also with ACOMAF, I got bored. There's like a midway point during both these books where I was a little bit worn out and I had to go to a new book and read a different book, which is where The Way I Used to Be comes in, and I can't remember what was in the middle of ACOMAF. I think it was Happy Place, but that is just a little thing. But I think that's just because I haven't, like at the time, read as big of a book as this before, so it was a little bit like stressing for me. So when I got to about like 400 in like however long this book is, like 600 pages, I don't know, I was like, I need a little bit of a break. So that is something, but I still love these books. 5 stars all the way. I love them. And then I finished the month off by reading When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and I rated this book a 3.5. I think that is, yeah, a 3.5. I just found this book a little bit, I don't know what it was. I genuinely don't know what it was, whether it was the fact that I didn't connect or what. I just didn't really like this. It was still good, it was still enjoyable. It wasn't to the point where I had to DNF it. I was actually tempted, but I didn't. But yeah. Then we get onto July, where this book started blowing up. So I read it, of course I did, and I gave this book a 5 stars. What else would you expect from me? If you haven't seen this book anywhere, you've literally been living under a rock. I've said it, you have been. This book is really good, and you should definitely go check out the series. It's dragons! This is my first ever dragons like book, and it was done so well. I loved it. Then I read A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. I didn't give it a 5 just because I thought it was unfair, just because the size of it compared to the big chunks that the other books are, but like, it's still such a good book. Like, I had so much fun reading it. It was just like a cute little, like a Christmas episode, if you know what I mean, from like a TV show. It was just so fun and so cozy and just so cute. Then I read The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I rated this book a 4 stars. I've written down in my reading log 5 stars, but I don't know if it's a 5 star because I swear I changed it. I don't know. It might be a 5 star. I'll put it on the screen, whatever my Goodreads says. But yeah, I enjoyed this book for what it was. It was good. Obviously the end, you know, if you know, you know, and it was good. And then I ended off the month by rereading Once a Broken Heart and A Bad Never After, just kind of doing a little bit of digging, trying to theorize and stuff. And these are my theory books, well, all my theories are in these copies. And yeah, I reread them. Both of them are still 5 stars, of course they are. And yeah, of course. know that was gonna happen. Okay, now we're going on into August, and I read a lot of books in August, obviously, because it's the summer. Of course I am. But I started off the month by reading Behind the Net on my Kindle. It was a Kindle Unlimited book, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was like an ice hockey romance or something, and it was so good. And I rated it a 5 stars. It was such a good book. I enjoyed it, and I read it so quickly. Like, I binged it. It was just so good. It was such a bundle of joy. I just loved it. Then I read The Wicked King by Holly Black. I rated this one also a 5 stars. I knew the ending of this book because I got spoiled. I don't know where or when, but I've known for a while the ending to this book, so I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't like, oh my god, I wasn't crying. It was just, yeah, the romance. Ooh, it was really good. And then I read The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I think I read this in a day, actually. I again rated this 5 stars. I think this is an actual 5 star though. Like, I completely agree with this rating. This is my favorite book in the series. Honestly, my jaw was on the floor. If you know, you know. I was like, what the hell? This book was honestly so good. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It's definitely deserving of its rating, and you should definitely go read the trilogy if you haven't already. Then I went and read the Lost Sisters novella, which is just like a 50-page novella which is a letter from Turn to Jude. It's in the Cruel Prince universe. It goes between the Cruel Prince and the Wicked King, and it was 50 pages, and I read it, and I don't know if I've rated it. Hold on. Yeah, I gave it a 3 stars. It was just whatever. Then I read Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Kathleen Webber, and I rated this book a 4.5 stars. I actually got a signed copy from Waterstones because I was just in there and it said signed by the author. I was like, oh, maybe I'll grab that then because that actually sounds interesting, and I read it and I actually enjoyed it. So I'm glad I kind of did because I got it signed. This book was so good, and it has one of my favourite like plot lines in a book, just generically ever, and like I really enjoyed it for it. Then I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book is a 5 stars. All the way. I loved this book. This is a phenomenon. You need to read this book. If you like fantasy, read this book. Oh, the romance in here is to die for. Who did this to you? I love this book so much. I need another book. I need the next book right now. Then I read Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I don't know what I rated this actually. Okay, I rated this a 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I just found it quite boring at some parts, which is shocking because I went back and reread this trilogy for Jax, and I found this boring because this is the book that Jax shows up in. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Why is the first book my favourite when Jax isn't there? Make it make sense. Then I finished off the ACOTAR series by reading A Court of Civil Flames by Sarah J Maas. I gave this book a 5 stars. It is my favourite in the series, and I love this book so much. This was so good. Oh my god, I couldn't stop reading it. I was just binging it all the time, and I loved it so much. You need to go read the series if you haven't already. The bonus chapter in here, I don't have it, but I saw it on TikTok. Dying. But that's it for August. We're now into September, and I started September by reading a Kindle Unlimited book, which is Zodiac Academy The Awakening, and I gave this book, I think it was a 4 stars. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book, and I will continue the series because I think the 8th or 9th book comes out on my birthday, actually. So it's a sign, guys. I'm gonna try and read all the series before then, but I guess we'll see. But I really enjoyed this book nonetheless. The characters are so good, and I can't wait to continue reading. It's exciting. Then I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I've had this book for a long time. I just decided to pick it up, to be honest. I also rated this book a 4 stars. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was such a cute romance. And yeah, that's just basically it. And then I finished the month off by reading The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Again, this is one of the thrillers I was talking about earlier that I'm just like sometimes in the mood for. So I read this book, and I gave this book also a 4 stars. This book was good. I think I half guessed it. I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't remember. This book was kind of like, but I kind of guessed it. I knew who was the problem. I just didn't know how. If anyone guesses how, you go work in the fucking FBI. Then we started October with reading How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. I rated this book a 4 stars. It was good. That's literally it. It gave me some insight into Cardan. I read it in a day. It was just good. It was good. Then I read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I gave this book a 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this book, and I will continue the series. I don't know when, but I did enjoy it. There was a lot of similarities to Powerless, because I think Powerless was inspired by this book or something. So yeah, I'm not complaining because I love both books, but yeah. Then I read Finale by Stephanie Garber. I did previously read this, I think it was in August, but I put it down. I kind of softy and effed it, and then I came back to finish it before A Curse of True Love came out, and I gave this book a 3.75 stars. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than Legendary, but it was still kind of the same thing. It was a little bit boring at parts. I had to do an effort for all reasons, but I feel like the plot in this one out of everyone would have enticed me more, but just something about it, I don't know, maybe I read it at a wrong time. I might have read it at a bad time, but you know, it's fine. Still enjoyed it though, but yeah. Then I read my most anticipated read of this year, not this year, last year obviously, but of 2023, A Curse of True Love by Stephanie Garber. I rated this book a 4.75 stars. Oh, I wanted it to be a 5 star so bad, and I kind of thought it was, but low-key I've read this in one afternoon and it is all a haze, so I will have to reread this book at some point just so I can actually figure out what my rating is, because I can't remember, to be honest. Like, I can't remember much of what happened, it's just all a haze, and that's the problem when I binge it in a night, because it's all just one mush. But this book is really good though. I do remember being a little bit like disappointed at the end, just because a lot of things were still left unanswered, and it was just like a little bit like underwhelming. I don't know, it's just something about it just felt a little bit underwhelming. And yeah, I know other people share that opinion with me as well, so I'm not unpopular, but like, it was still really, really good, don't get me wrong, and I'm obviously happy with it, but like, it was just underwhelming, slightly disappointing. I feel like I intentionally rushed, but I still love Stephanie. Like, I will read anything she writes. Like, give me anything, I will eat it up every time. And I'm sad to see them go. I really am. And then I read part of a book in October and then part in November, which was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. I rated this book a 4 stars. It was good. And it started my Throne of Glass journey. Yeah. I will say I got the ending spoiled for me for that book, but it's fine. It just didn't hit as hard. If you know, you know. Then I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I rated this book a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the first book, but it was still really good. I sobbed at the end. Like, the ending was like, oh my god. But the bit before that, if you know, you know. I swear it hit me more than the first one did. If you know, you know. It hit me more than It's Been My Honor. Dare I say, I cried so hard. I don't know why, but like, I sobbed my heart out at the end of this book. Really good, definitely go read it. Then I read Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I rated this book a 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it. I binged it in almost a day, and I ate it up. I ate it up. Then I automatically went into Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. I rated this a 4.5. I really enjoyed this. Again, I ate it up. That's all I'm gonna say. I knew the ending. I guessed it in Throne of Glass because I know some things, or I thought I knew some things, and it kind of gave it away when Throne of Glass started. So I knew this ending for ages, like at the start of Throne of Glass. So it was a little bit upset, but I was so happy at the end because I was like, oh my god, I enjoyed a mastermind, like confirmation. Oh my god. So it wasn't disappointing. I was still like really happy with myself, but like, yeah. Anyway, then I read House of Earth and Blood. House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. I read this book a 5 stars. First 5 stars in a while, may I just say. Oh, love this book so much. So much. I binged this book. I read it. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I just want to go back. I love the romance in this book. I love Bryce Quinlan. I just love everything about this book. The like plot was good. It's definitely a plot that I love following, and that kind of like mystery kind of thing. Oh, I love this book so much. So much. But I will tell you now, do not read this book unless you've read ACOTAR, the whole series, and Throne of Glass, the whole series. Don't do what I did. Read both of them first. And I'm only saying that just because you won't have time to go back and read them before CC3, and you'll need to read them before CC3. definitely read ACOTAR before you touch these. But you need to definitely read Throne of Glass before CC3, and in order to do that, you're gonna have to read them before you read these anyway. So just don't touch these before you read them. I know that's a lot of books to read, but you have to. You have to. I love this book. My baby. And then of course, I read House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. I cried harder than I cried at the end of The Bar Never After at this book. And you don't understand the big revelation that is. Oh. The end of this book, I was dying. But no freaking way. I did know it, and I went into both of these books knowing it, but I didn't know that was the big end that everyone was talking about. And I was like, but it's like, it's not just, it's, I still die thinking about this book. I still die thinking about this book. And may I just say, these, I feel like, have a chance, if they haven't already, to overtake Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy as my favourite books of all time. I think they have, low-key, because the obsession I have with Sarah J Maas right now, unmatched energy right now. These books are my favourites ever. I love these so much. I need CC3 like right now. And then to finish off the year, I managed to squeeze in one more book, which was Airfire by Sarah J Maas. I'm going back and reading all of Throne of Glass before CC3. I'm right now on Queen of Shadows, and it is the 2nd of January when I'm reading this. I'm 300 pages in. So all I have left is the tandem and the final book, and I'll be done, and hopefully I can get that done by the end of the month. We're hoping. But I rated this book a 4.75 stars. I really enjoyed this book. My man is in this book. My man. The end. What happens to, I'm not saying, but like, if you can read between the lines and you know what I'm hinting at and what happens to this certain person, I want to die. In my heart, I want to die. But I know things, so it's fine. But like, what the hell? This book was so good. I did really enjoy it, but there's just something that wasn't a 5-star. I don't know what it was. Just something, but it was so good. 4.75. But that is all the books that I read this year. I'm going to put them in a stack, and I'm going to try and take some thumbnail photos, and this is going to go terribly wrong, but watch me. This is not even with my hardcovers. Look. I'm gonna shoot myself if any of these books are damaged. That did not work at all. Oh, my reading journal's fucking screwed. None of them are damaged. I got so lucky. That wasn't even my hardcovers, and that was fucking huge. So guys, that was all the books that I read in the year of 2023. I know I didn't do a November or a December wrap up, but you guys have it here, so there's no need. This was a lot of effort, a lot of time. I've been filming for an hour, so please like the video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this mess of a video. And send a prayer to my books that they don't get damaged, because I'm gonna take some more thumbnails. I didn't get to take any, but I'm gonna go take some thumbnails. And I bet you some money that they're gonna fall and they're gonna break. Not break, but they're gonna be like bent. I'll just see you guys in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the new year. Well, it is the new year, but I'll see you guys in another video. Bye guys.